I'm not quite sure where everybody else is, but I'm sure they'll come in as we go in. Just a few housekeeping issues before we continue. Please, everybody, put your video off and also keep your microphone off. Not only does it save bandwidth for those who've got a less stable internet connection, but it's also very distracting for the speaker if somebody else has their microphone on and they're speaking in the background. Please make sure that you name yourself either with your surname or your given name, or your given name and then your surname. This is so that you can get a certificate of attendance and be ticked off the registration list. I'm sure by now everybody knows where the raise hand function is. And please don't forget to lower your hand after you have asked a question. We will have a coffee break somewhere in the middle. Unfortunately, you're going to have to provide your own coffee and muffins. If you have named yourself correctly, you will receive a certificate of attendance. And the CPD credits for today's presentation is 2 GSSA CPD credits and 0.2 credits for SACNAS. Okay, Lily has already pressed the record button. Cool. Okay. As we go through the presentation, please feel free to ask questions as we go along. Just raise your hand and hopefully with any luck, I will see it and then ask you. We'll also have a number of Q&A discussion sessions as we go through and also at the end. So continuing professional development. This is one of the fundamental pillars of professionalism. And it's not only important in the geosciences, but in pretty much every other vocation. Knowledge has a half-life. And whether it's 8 years, as it says here, or whatever it is, we all pretty soon start to realize that if we don't keep up with what's happening in our field of practice, we're going to fall behind and become irrelevant. So if we want to be the go-to person in our organization or stay the go-to person in our organization, we need to continue professional development throughout our working life. So what is CPD? Well, it's really just a term used to describe the things that you learn and do during your entire career. It's like a physical or a digital logbook. It's a record of what you've done, where you've done it, how you've learned, how you've developed throughout your life. Some of the key features of any CPD program is that it is driven by you. You decide what it is that you're going to do. You decide the courses that you want to go on, what you want to learn. Your employer doesn't determine it for you. Your registration authority doesn't tell you what it is that you have to do. It's entirely driven by you. It's what you do over the years. And it's both formal, it's also informal. It helps you to identify gaps in your skills and your capabilities, and it keeps you up to date with the latest advancements and the things that are going on in your field of practice. So you would start off by seeing what it is that you needed to do. Plan where you're going to be going, what courses you're going to go on. You'd then go on the course. You would then record it. Wash, rinse, repeat. You would keep going like that throughout your working life. What's important about CPD is that the goal is not simply to collect credits. The goal is personal development. Own it. Make it work for you. CPD is becoming so important globally that most ethics statements refer to it in some way. And here we have a couple of statements, for example, that by the IAGAF and also the IAPG, where they note that one of the fundamental values of geoethics is competence, which includes regular training and lifelong learning. Even the Cape Town Statement of Geoethics states that one of the things that we would do is continue lifelong development of geoscientific knowledge. And the GSSA considers it so important that it is in the Code of Ethics. Now, remember, the Code of Ethics is part of the GSSA Constitution and therefore is incumbent upon all GSSA members. It's not a requirement of your GSSA membership to demonstrate your CPD. We highly recommend it for your personal advancement. And it's also applicable to wherever you're employed. It's not only practicing geoscientists in industry. It's also applicable to you if you're working in academia, research, or government or statutory institutions. And just to note, I'm just seeing on the chat, guys, I don't need you to rename yourself in the chat. Your name in the participant list. Right click on it, you'll see, or hover your cursor over it, over your name area, and you'll see something which says more. Click on more, and you'll find rename. That is where I need you to rename yourself, please. Okay, so moving on then. If you are a practicing geoscientist in South Africa, which includes all of you, according to the SACNASP Act, you must be registered with SACNASP. Now, this is not only for consultants, as some people think, it's anybody who is a practicing geoscientist has to be registered with SACNASP. And one of SACNASP's requirements for retaining your SACNASP registration is that you demonstrate CPD annually. So we get to the situation where, as a GSSA member, CPD is a moral and ethical obligation. If you are registered with SACNASP, it's a statutory requirement. So this can get very complicated, to say nothing about onerous, if you were trying to log CPD with both organizations and keep up to date with two very different systems. So what the GSSA did, now the GSSA is the voluntary association that represents most geoscientists. We signed an MOU with SACNASP to make it easy for our members who are registered in both places to avoid duplication. And so we have a situation where if you're a GSSA member and you're also registered with SACNASP, you can choose to record your CPD credits either with the GSSA or with SACNASP and be mutually recognized by the other organization. So it doesn't matter where you log your points. If you're compliant with one system, you are deemed to be compliant with the other. Now, it's this word deemed that is the important one, because although there are many elements that are common to both classifications, they are very different in many other aspects, particularly in the way they allocate credits. For example, SACNASP looks at what activities are you doing, whereas the GSSA looks at how much time you spend on it. They also have different numbers of credits for different activities. For example, SACNASP has 1 CPD for a full day's workshop, where the GSSA has 8 CPD for a full day workshop. There are also different combinations and classifications of activities. SACNASP has 3 categories. GSSA has 4 categories. If you, with SACNASP, formal courses are obligatory, but for the GSSA, not so much. Because of these differences, it's not a simple matter of simply transposing information from one system to another. So once you've logged your points on one system, it is not magically going to appear on the other system. SACNASP cannot simply siphon off the information from the GSSA site or vice versa. Got issues around protection of personal information, and various other cybersecurity issues. And we'll deal with what you need to do a little bit later in the workshop. But just to note that the classifications are quite different. So if you log it on one system, it's not going to appear in the other system. There is a step in between. But where you log your credits, the choice is yours. You decide for yourself where you want to log your credits. It's not that one is right or the other is wrong, or better or worse. They are both equally acceptable to both the GSSA and also SACNASP. You just need to decide for yourself what suits your specific circumstances better. However, each system is a standalone system. You either use one or the other. You can't combine them. SACNASP requires full compliance with one system. So what that means is, if you've been doing, say, the SACNASP one, and then you decide that you actually want to follow the GSSA system, then you must go back to the beginning of the cycle, this is 2017, and update that one to 2021. And the same is true if you're going from SACNASP or from GSSA to SACNASP. So what I'm going to do now is to go through each system, show you what is required under each system, and then you decide for yourself which one is better for you. Okay, so firstly, the SACNASP system. These are the folks that you will deal with. Sarah van Aert is the CPD administrator who actually works for SACNASP, and she's the one that you would deal with most issues. Johan van Skalkwijk, he's the guy if you have technical queries. If you can't get into the website, if your course doesn't exist, Johan is the person to speak to, and these are their contact details. And before I forget, yes, you will get a copy of the presentation, and there will be a few other documents that will be included in the pack that you will receive. So the SACNASP system works on a 5-year CPD cycle, which means that you must complete a certain number of CPD activities over a 5-year cycle to be able to stay compliant and renew your professional registration. The current cycle under SACNASP started on the 1st of April 2017, and it wasn't an April Fool's joke, and it runs all the way to the 31st of March 2022. Or otherwise, it's 5 years from the date of your membership. So if you only registered with SACNASP 2 years ago, your 5 years starts from the date of your membership going forward. At the end of the 5-year cycle, everything reverts to zero, and you start again with the next 5-year cycle. There are 3 categories where you can claim credits. In your 5-year cycle, you need to have 25 credits, which is effectively 5 credits a year. Out of these 3 categories, you must obtain your Cpd credits in at least 2 out of the 3 in any year. And at least 1 credit per year must come from category 1, to a total then of 5 credits in a cycle must be from category 1 activities. So category 1 activities, these are what they call developmental activities. These are the formal courses, the technical courses, workshops, conferences, seminars, lectures, and so forth. Category 1 is a compulsory activity. You have to do it. It also includes in-house events and online events. You can't claim more than 5 category 1 credits in a 5-year cycle. Even if you do, it's not going to reflect, it's not going to show. You can get a maximum of 5 credits in a cycle. However, during that 5-year cycle, your credits are cumulative for category 1 activities. So what that means is if in year 1, you go on a 5-day course and you get your 5 category 1 activities, that carries all the way through to the end, and you don't need to go on another category 1 activity in the next couple of years. You won't be allowed to claim for them anyhow. It also means that you can not go on a course for year 1 and year 2, and maybe in year 3, you go on a 3-day course. In-house events are now allowed, but they still need to be validated through SACNASP by the company, and we'll talk about validation a little bit later. Previously, online courses were not allowed, but since the lockdown, they have created an online Cpd site for all science fields of practice, and I'll walk you through that just now as well. So this is the online Cpd website. You can go there directly, or you can go there through the SACNASP site. If you click on here where it says all courses, or select course categories, okay, it drops down and you're able to see a whole bunch of related courses. Various different course categories. Some are generic SACNASP. You also get geology, mineral economics, environmental, hydrogeology. But there are also courses applicable to other fields of practice. So don't expect to only see geoscience categories here. There will be categories, various other fields of practice that you may know nothing about. If you click on here to see more training events, this is where it drops down and you'll be able to access all the GSSA online courses, which are available for you to purchase and view in your own time. There are also a whole series of category 3B webinars, which we'll come to in a moment. But this is where you can go to the SACNASP site, select these courses, and gain credits for them. Okay, that was category 1. Now, category 2, these are what they call work-related activities. And under category 2A, this is where you can claim credits for simply going to work, because SACNASP recognizes that much learning takes place on the job. However, this category is skewed in favor of people who are employed. And this is a great disadvantage for many geoscientists who might not always be employed. This work category is also restricted to science-related work, which can also be a challenge for people in middle to senior management positions, because management time is not considered science-related work. Then we have the category 2B. This is where you can claim credits for mentoring SACNASP candidates. It's important to note that it's only SACNASP candidate mentoring that falls under this category. But it's formal mentoring programs within that they've now allowed for in-house training skills development as well. But it's to a maximum of 1 credit per year, whereas the science work is up to a maximum of 2 credits per year. Category 3A is where you can claim a credit for belonging to a voluntary association. So if you belong to the Gssa, you can claim 1 credit for that. Now, you can't claim 1 credit for belonging to the Gssa, 1 credit for belonging to the SAIMM. It's a maximum of 1 credit per year that you can claim. Category 3B, these are what they call individual activities, and you're limited to a maximum of 3 credits per year, and 1 credit is 10 hours of whatever. So if you present a paper at a conference, you can claim 1 credit. If you publish an article, you can claim 2 credits. If you publish a technical article, it's 1 credit. If you complete a postgrad degree, you can get 5 credits once off. If you act as an external examiner, you can claim 2 credits. If you are lecturing and supervising postgrad students, you can claim credits, but not if that is your day job. You can only claim this if you are doing this outside of work. In other words, if you are a lecturer at a university, you can't claim lecturing and supervision as CPD because that's what you get paid to do. If you take part in any of these committees, task groups, committees and so forth, you can claim time for that. The other one I want to highlight is self-study. And this is where when you read journals or you look at videos, which would include the 3B category webinars on the SACNASP CPD site, you can claim credits for that. The important thing to note is that SACNASP requires that all these activities must be verified. In other words, if you've read a paper, they want to know the name of the paper, reference to it. If you have watched a video, they want to know the details of it. And you must supply all of this information when you log it into the course. When it comes to accrediting or validating events, all Category 1 activities must be validated and accredited by SACNASP before they can qualify for CPD points. Now, this is applicable for in-house or online events as well, and it needs to be done before the event because you need to get a certificate of validation with a validation number. And then once it's been validated or accredited, it needs to be uploaded to the SACNASP site. And this typically takes place after the event because you need to have a list of attendees as well. So it needs to be validated and accredited before the course, but then it needs to be uploaded to SACNASP after the course. Now, all GSSA, SAIMM, SAM codes courses, these are automatically accredited for CPD points. If a course is run through an approved tertiary institution, university, technical college, whatever, or even a government department, these are also automatically accredited. And the accreditation is done by them, it's done by the institution or the department. The GSSA courses are automatically accredited. That is done by myself. But all other bodies, if it's a private company, a professional conference organizer, these need to have every event accredited separately through SACNASP. And this is how they do it. They register on the SACNASP as a training provider. They submit material to SACNASP for validation, and someone there will validate the activity, generally in conjunction with the Voluntary Association, and then SACNASP charges a fee for it. I want to highlight this. As we said earlier, any event needs to be validated and accredited by SACNASP before it can qualify for CPD credits. So if you're going on a course through a PCO, please make sure that you either see or request the SACNASP validation number. Unfortunately, we have seen circumstances where companies, conference organizers say, we're accredited through SACNASP, and at the end of the day, they're not. Perhaps their validation number has expired. Perhaps they didn't bother to go through the process of doing it. So do yourself a favor and always check that there is a SACNASP validation on outside courses. As we've said, all GSSA courses are automatically accredited, but they're only going to be uploaded and available on the website for you to select after the event has taken place. And this is because we've got to provide an attendance list of all the delegates to SACNASP. And that's one of the other reasons why it's important that your name appears on the Zoom participant list. Well, not only Zoom, but any online course, make sure it's your name, your full name, the same as you always use it, particularly with respect to SACNASP registration. Please don't use the name of your phone, your company, or a pseudonym, because if your name doesn't occur on the attendance delegate list, SACNASP is not going to accept the fact that you are claiming for that particular course. So what do you do if you go to the SACNASP site and you drop down and you can't find your course? If it's a GSSA course, then it's simple. You contact the GSSA and it will eventually come back to me and remind me that I had forgotten to upload it. and at which time I shall do so forthwith. If it's another course, a non-GSSA course, you need to contact the course coordinator and then SACNASP, because I can't do anything about it. Anything outside of the GSSA must be between the course coordinator and SACNASP. SACNASP does allow various exemptions, full exemptions and partial exemptions. There are exemptions for candidates, also retired people who are not working. I'm not quite sure why retired people who are not working want to remain registered with SACNASP, but nonetheless. This policy document, which will be in the pack that you will receive, contains all the latest exemptions and details. You can also check the website. So in order to add CPD credits on the SACNASP website, you would go to the website, go to the CPD Scientist portal, put your registration number in, your ID number is your password, and then you would log in and go to your CPD portfolio, add activities, and that brings you to 3 sections for category 1, category 2, and category 3 activities, and you can just add them in there. So what happens if you don't do your CPD? Well, before you can renew your registration for the next 5-year cycle, SACNASP is going to require that you catch up and log your credits within a specific time. And if you don't do that, technically you may be registered as PR SciNet. Having said that, the objective of SACNASP is to encourage personal development, not to deregister scientists. They've got enough hassles getting people to register the first time round. They're not going to simply deregister them. So SACNASP is actually going to bend over backwards to help you to get and keep your CPD up to date. Right, so at this stage, I think we will take a 10-minute tea break. I will also take any questions if anybody has. Just raise your hand. If you can't find the raise hand function, just unmute yourself and ask your question. Guy?
Hi, I've just got a quick one. If you're not able to attend conferences and things like that, it's either a budget thing or, you know, nothing really comes up that's within your field. What alternatives can you make up points? If you don't get one conference point per year, are you then ineligible after that 5-year period? Because I didn't go to a single conference last year. There was nothing to go to, at least in my line of work.
SACNASP require that you do formal training.
Yeah.
Some way, form or another. So as we said earlier, these things roll over. So year 1, you may not have been able to attend anything. Year 2, you might find that there are 2 courses that you can go to. So it is cumulative. It's looking at 5 over the 5-year period. It's the only one of the categories that allows this rollover. Everything else has to be done per year. Whereas these courses, as long as you got your 5 by the end of 5 years. That's also why SACNASP has got this online portal for courses, trying to assist people who physically may not be able to get to a course, but you can still log on online and do it.
Right. Thanks.
Hi, Tania. Quick question.
Yeah.
So if it's possible that you get 5 points in the first year for category 1 activity, all the points that you get in year 2 all the way to 5, that just doesn't count?
If you get 5 category 1
in the first year.
first,
Yeah. And then all the conferences that you attend for the next 4 years, can you log it? And then even if you do log it, does SACNASP just not look at, doesn't really count it at the end of that 5 years because you've already met the quota of 5 points?
that's correct.
I see. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes, Tutusile?
Yes, hi Tanya. I have a question with respect to category 2B, the mentoring or mentorship part of the points. So there's this new initiative run by both VETS and UJ. So it's the Bridge the Gap where postgrads somehow mentor undergrads. So will that, can one register that into category 2B?
The long answer is yes, it will come about. When SACNAS first started it, it was only for the candidate mentoring program through SACNAS, but they are in the process of broadening that out to any formal mentoring program.
Okay, so is it applicable if maybe you lecturing, for example, and then you supervising a group of first years, or if like in my situation right now, being a postgrad, mentoring like first years. So if it's not like part of your line of work, if I can put it like that, then it's something that you can register.
Is, or are you formally part of Bridge the Gap?
I'm formally part of Bridge the Gap. I have 2 mentees, and then I registered this year with it. But prior to that, in 2017 and 2018, I was mentoring first year students at VETS, but School of Mining. So I was just wondering whether will I have to put that and then also put this one separately.
If you are doing your CPD through SACNASP, you can only claim for the formal time that you have been part of Bridge the Gap, and only for the formal mentees that are registered with that program.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, are there any more questions regarding the SACNASP system? Elaine, have we answered all of the questions that you had? Elaine's gone for tea. I will be back in 2 minutes. Okay, so I assume everybody is now back and we continue. Okay, so as we've said, that you as a GSSA member who is registered with SACNAS, you can choose to do your CPD courses either on SACNAS or on the GSSA. And so we've had a look at what the SACNAS system is about and how you can log your points there. We're now going to have a look at the GSSA system. So what are the benefits of the GSSA system? Well, the SACNAS system is necessarily a more generic system because it's got to cater to the needs of the entire range of natural scientists. The GSSA system is specific to the needs of geoscientists. And we have created it to be applicable to our members who are employed or even looking to be employed in the minerals industry. We are very cognizant around issues of unemployment, retrenchment, whether you're working in the field, whether you're retired. Also, the GSSA system is benchmarked against other systems, whether it be local, regional, or international systems. So it's applicable to you as a GSSA member wherever you live and work, and you can claim your credits wherever in the world you are doing. We've mentioned before that we've got an MOU in place with SACNASP in order to be able to mutually recognize CPD credits. We're also working on doing the same with other international geoscience organizations, so that if you have to be registered with another organization in the country where you're working, you'd still be able to mutually recognize CPD systems. One I want to highlight is the SAIMM. Now, while they don't currently have an operational CPD system, they are working on it. And we've got a number of our GSSA members who are registered with both GSSA and SAIMM. So you wouldn't have to go and do CPD with the GSSA, as well as SACNASP, as well as SAIMM. That gets far too complicated. Rather, if you do it with the GSSA, you'd be recognized at SACNASP and also at the SAIMM. The CPD system, the GSSA, is based on the presumption of honesty and integrity. However, good governance requires that we do annual audits, GSSA, and also SACNASP. The GSSA system is based on time spent doing professional development activities. It's not based on X amount for a specific activity. It is also based on principles and guidance. We're not going to give you 1,001 rules as you can do this and you can't do that. It's principles based. Our digital system has been operational since 2014, but we also run the 5-year cycle concurrent with SACNASP so that it helps our members to be able to keep the same time zones for the CPD. This is, in a nutshell, is what the GSSA system comprises. It's 4 categories. And while we encourage our members to collect points across the entire spectrum, no category is obligatory. So if you can't get points in one category, you can catch up in the other categories. There is an annual objective of 60 credits per year, and that works out to 300 credits over the SACNASP 5-year cycle. So the first one we'll look at is the formal learning category. And as you'd expect, this is where you can claim for formally structured courses, seminars, conferences, workshops. The GSSA also recommends that in any 5-year cycle, you do at least one SAM codes course or workshop. The way the hour requirement works is that 1 CPD point equates to, or rather 1 hour, professional development hour, 1 hour of work equates to 1 CPD point. So if you're at a full day course, you'll get 8 CPD points, and a half-day course gets 4 CPD points. Otherwise, it is done per hour, like this one is a 2-hour course. So one gets 2 CPD credits for it. If you do a course that is tested, and if you pass the test, then you will get 1.5 times the number of credits. It's not only GSSA courses that count towards this formal learning situation. Any international event, any in-house training or conference, online courses, webinars, live streaming events, correspondence courses, these can all be claimed under formal learning. We get two varieties. One is the obvious one, the technical function-related course. Things like Geocongress, the Platinum course, the Diamond Conference, it's technical in nature. We also get non-technical courses, but which are also function-related. For example, an ordinary financial course would not classify, would not qualify, whereas a financial course specifically for geologists is something that does qualify. Things like MPRDA, mining or exploration related law courses. A normal generic law course would not qualify, but if it's specific, if it's function related, specific to what you as a geoscientist does. These sorts of CPD professional courses, geoethics. I just want to highlight here job-related language and software courses. If your company is sending you to China to work there and do exploration there, and they send you on a Chinese language course beforehand, that will qualify. If, however, you are learning French because you want to go to Paris next summer, or you have a French girlfriend and you want to impress her, or if you think, well, it'll be useful because maybe I'll be able to pick up a job in the DRC going forward, that doesn't count because that is not specifically job related. And the same thing with software courses. Things like Micromine, Leapfrog, they're all function related and you can claim for them. But a generic course on Microsoft or Office or anything like that, not so much. Note also too that these non-technical courses are subject to abuse. We recognize that, and so if there's an audit that takes place, many times it will be these non-technical courses which will be queried. Unlike SACNASP, the GSSA does not accredit specific courses. If it's an applicable course, then it can simply be included in the event list by the course coordinator or else by a delegate. You don't need to contact us to confirm whether your course is applicable. You just simply log the course and claim the relevant number of hours and points on the website. And we also do not charge to add courses on. Now, while we don't validate courses, we do audit a sample of courses. The GSSA doesn't generally endorse third-party courses. There are a few, particularly the Colin Rice drilling course, which is one of the few courses that is endorsed by the GSSA. So if you see a non-GSSA course and it says that it's endorsed by the GSSA, please query this with your course coordinator or the GSSA, because there's a likelihood that it might not be entirely true. So if you go to the GSSA website and you go to the drop-down list and you see that your course is not in the list, your first port of call is to contact your course coordinator for them to add it to the list. It's so much easier if one person adds it and everybody else can select it, rather than 15 people adding it, each with a different format. It gets a bit confusing. If your course coordinator is not available or is not able to do it, then you can log into the website and manually add the course and the details. Again, if you encounter problems doing this, please contact the GSSA, providing this information, and we will assist you with that. Please keep your certificates of attendance. It's important to note that attendance is not based on registration, but it must be a certificate of completion that is given to you by the course organizer. And particularly if you're doing an examinable course or claiming an examinable course, we do need to see your certificate. And there is a place that you can upload these certificates to the website. Okay, the second, before we go on, are there any questions with respect to formal courses or formal learning category? Anybody have a question there? Yes, Dudazile.
Yes, I have a question with respect to, let's say, a degree. I saw with the SACNAS P, where you mentioned that you can get 5 points at a go for maybe getting a postgrad qualification. So how does it work with the GSSA one? Because I prefer using the GSSA. And then if you want to upload that you carry, because last year I got my MSc by coursework and research report. So how would I add that to the CPD point?
Okay, short answer is that it's still coming up because that's not under formal learning. That we classify under knowledge contribution. So that'll come up in the next section.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so looking at knowledge contribution, this category is where you can earn credits by time spent contributing to the general geoscience body of knowledge. This means you can claim credits for time spent preparing and also presenting. You can do this at formal or informal events. It would be leading field trips, writing papers, refereeing papers, reviewing theses, formal mentoring. It doesn't include day job activities. So again, if you are a lecturer, you can't claim the time that you spend preparing and lecturing. If you are a consultant, you can't claim the time that you write reports, write CPRs. If you work for a company and you assist your boss in doing a presentation, you can't claim that because that's part of your day job. The GSSA recognizes that there's a huge amount of time and effort involved in contributing to knowledge. So therefore, 1 hour of knowledge contribution equates to 3 CPD points. And there's no maximum in this category. So you can do a bunch of presentations, write papers, and you can keep claiming CPD points for this category. And this is where you can acquire most, if not all, of your CPD points through this activity. So now, as some guidance, give you some ideas as to what you can claim for and how you go about it. If you're doing a presentation, if it's a new presentation, you roughly look at about 5 hours of preparation for each hour of lecture. So it's 5 plus 1 gives you 6 hours, multiply by 3 gives you 18 CPD credits. If you're doing a repeat lecture, for example, this one here on CPD, I do it every couple of months. So every couple of months I can claim for a repeat lecture, which is only 1 or 2 hours of preparation, plus the hour of presentation, multiply by 3 to give you the CPD credits. Again, it's always a good idea to keep copies of everything that you're going to claim for. The here is what we do with respect to postgrad study. If you have completed an honors, you can claim 10 hours, multiply by 3 in the year you graduate. For an MSc, it's 20, and for a PhD, it's 40 hours. So for the PhD, it'd be 40 times 3, you get 120 CPD credits in the year of graduation. Writing a paper. Of course, it's no use just writing the paper and sticking it in your bottom drawer. You actually have to have it published in a recognized peer-reviewed journal. And here is the guidance here that as the first author or a sole author, you would be able to claim 1 hour per page. So, for example, on a 5,000 word paper, you would claim 10 times 1, which would give you 10 hours, multiplied by 3 CPD credits, so you'd get 30 CPD credits. Note that this doesn't include the time that you spend on the research. That we claim elsewhere, we'll get to that in a little while. If you publish a book, you could claim 60 CPD credits in the year that you publish it. And again, time spent on research is claimed in a different category. With respect to mentoring, it's any formal mentoring program. In any of these, and even formal company programs, the mentor can claim CPD credits, but you do need to provide the logbook of your meetings. We'll talk about informal mentoring a little bit later, but this is purely formal mentoring programs. Do we have any questions regarding the knowledge contribution section? So Duduzile, you know where you can go and claim your MSc?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay. Anybody else?
Tanya, so
Yeah.
if you, with respect to writing a paper, if you have a paper, let's say you're writing it for SAIM, and then you also present on it in a conference, like a conference paper, are they judged the same?
No, the nice thing is you get a certain amount for your paper, and then you also get for your presentation.
Okay, thank you.
So what we do with the knowledge contribution is this is where we try and encourage people to get involved in contributing and giving back to the membership. So by getting involved with presentations, writing papers, you can claim pretty much all of your CPD credits by doing something like this. You don't have to go on courses. Okay, so then if we move on to the next one, which is the self-directed study or informal learning. And as the name suggests, this is the stuff that you do by yourself in your own time or on an informal basis. It's not a highly structured activity, and so therefore 4 hours of this activity is equal to 1 Cpd credit. And this has an annual maximum of 80 hours per year. And some of the things that this would include, and what I've highlighted here is this is some of the things that it includes. It's not limited to them. There are many other things as well. It would be like attending non-structured or informal lectures or field trips. Here is a whole bunch of lectures that we're talking about. The WIMSA talks, the WITS Geo talks, the GSSA lunchtime lectures, the SAIMM morning webinars, the Alex de Toy Memorial Lecture. If you go to the Overberg Geosciences group, even the GIA knowledge sessions, and there are many of these informal presentations that are related to geoscience. Anytime you read a relevant journal article, I'm not going to ask you to tell me what it is or where you referenced it. It must be relevant to what you're doing. Obviously, if you're reading an article on basket weaving for beginners, that doesn't count so much. Personal research. So where you do research for your papers or your book or whatever it is, any sort of personal research can be claimed under this category. And if you missed the actual presentation and you go to the YouTube channel and you download it and you watch it in your own time, that also classifies for claiming CPD credits under this particular category. The last category is professional practice. And these are all the things that you do to improve yourself as a professional geoscientist. Here we're looking at 8 hours of any particular activity is equivalent to 1 CPD credit for a maximum of 10 CPD credits in a year. Now, the GSSA acknowledges that much professional development does occur on the job, but it's not your day-to-day work that gets counted here. This is the stuff that you do outside of your day-to-day work that can improve your professionalism. So some of the things that we are looking at there is if you're writing standard operating procedures or relevant articles for non-technical journals, company websites, company newsletters. If you take part in internal workshops, career days, any sort of social environmental activity which is related to your social license to operate. Attending various, if you contribute to any one of these committees, branches, or councils. Also, if you spend time mentoring informally and also being mentored, this is where you can claim time. And if we go back to Dizile, when you were mentoring your students prior to formally being associated with Bridge the Gap, this is where you can claim time for doing that. Okay. And also the mentees on the course, this is where you would claim the time while you are being mentored.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there were other things that you could claim as well. These are really anything that you would add to your CV. So it would be developing applicable soft skills, whether it be going on a communication skills course, language skills. This is where you would claim your French language for when you went to Paris with your girlfriend, or general software courses, or any of these other type of courses, which is something that you might want to add to your CV. Also, earlier, we spoke about non-technical, but still specifically function-related courses under formal learning category. Here you can claim non-technical generalized courses. For example, occupational health and safety courses, various MBA courses, as well as these courses which are given through universities, business schools. This is where you'd be able to claim these. So what you can see through the 4 different classifications, we've tried to highlight things that basically you can claim pretty much anything that you do in order to develop your knowledge, your skills, and your abilities. Here is a quick summary of the 4 different classifications and some of the things that you can claim in each category. And again, to highlight that we've got a 60 Cpd annual objective, 300 credits over a 5-year cycle, and no category is obligatory. If you can get all of your Cpd points in that category, as well as these, so be it. In fact, if we go and have a look at this table, this is the activity, what you would like to see yourself getting to, the points and the maximums you can get in any one year. Anybody can get the maximum in self-directed study, informal learning, and professional practice. You can all very easily do that. So before you've even blinked an eyelid, you have got 30 Cpd points, which is half of what you need in a year. And the other 30, well, write a paper, do a presentation. Remember, at GSSA courses, if you are a presenting author, you don't pay for entrance into the formal course. So automatically you would get for attending the course, also for preparing and for presenting. And if you wrote a paper that was to be published in the proceedings, you would get credits for that as well. So initially, when you started off and you saw 60 Cpd points in a year, how am I going to get all that? Now you can see that it's actually quite simple to get those 60 Cpd points. And yes, there are exemptions. Again, full exemption for members who are retired, non-practicing, playing golf, catching fish, playing with grandchildren. There are also partial exemptions available for members on special leave, those who are retired but not doing work of a geoscientific nature, and of course, special circumstances, each on a case-by-case basis. However, if you are unemployed, have been retrenched, are retired, working part-time, you're not exempt from Cpd. But the GSSA system has been designed so that you can give of your time and knowledge and still earn Cpd, even if you can't go on courses. And when you look at the fact that most of our courses are now online, cost is less of an issue than it may previously have been. A couple of examples. If you're a graduate, master's, PhD graduate, and you don't yet have a job. So how do you get CPD credits? Well, firstly, you've got your thesis itself. Then if you write up a paper and get it published somewhere, if you present it at a branch event, or even at the GSSA lunchtime lectures. Also, if you volunteer for a formal mentoring program, these will all get you the CPD credits that you need. Also for unemployed people or retired people, again, preparing and presenting, being a part of the various committees, the SAM codes committees, and we have Zoom facilities available. You don't have to be there. In fact, nowadays you can't be there. If you participate in branch activities or help organize some of these activities, and again, Zoom facilities are available. You can assist with the GSSA website, Facebook, or GeoBulletin contributions. If you write or review technical papers for SHAG or other journal. And again, volunteer for a formal mentoring program. And what if you're a field-based geologist living out in the middle of nowhere in a tent? Well, here are just a number of examples of the kinds of things that you as a field-based geologist can do in order to obtain CPD points. So, whose responsibility is it? Well, the GSSA, their obligations, they provide CPD training, we provide an online portal, and we also send annual reminders to the membership. SACNASP provides CPD training, provides online portal, they send annual reminders to the membership, and they audit compliance not only with their own system, but they are able to audit our system as well. It is your responsibility to log your CPD credits. The GSSA or SACNASP is not responsible for confirming what your credits are or what courses you went on. You know what they are, when they were. It's your responsibility to log the credits on whichever system you choose. It's also your responsibility to download the certificate from the GSSA website and upload it to SACNASP every year during April. And I'll go through this with you. So the first thing you do is you log into the GSSA website. You go to the members access area. And firstly, you must update your personal information. You need both the GSSA and your SACNASP ID numbers. You must also indicate whether you're doing CPD through GSSA or SACNASP. Then you go to the My CPD Points tab and you input your CPD activities. And one of the documents that you'll find in your pack is instruction on how to add CPD credits. Then annually, by the 31st of March, you must download the standardized report called Cpd Log Report. It's a PDF. You just click on the button and the system itself takes it, formats it, and allows you to download it. And it's that document that you then upload to the SACNASP website, which allows SACNASP to know that you have done your CPD through the GSSA. And the way you do that is you log on to the SACNAS website. Go over here. So we log on to the SACNAS website. We go here to the Cpd Scientist portal. And again, you sign in using your registration number and your ID number as password, and you log in. Then you go to the Cpd portfolio. We go to select change Cpd system, because by default, it will assume you're doing it through SACNAS. So this is where you go to it and tell it, no, we're going to do it through the GSSA. Okay, once you click on there, you can input your field of practice and also which system. This is on a drop-down menu. You can select the GSSA system. Also put in here at the cover note that you are doing your CPD through the GSSA. And then for every year, you must upload your CPD log, which you downloaded from the GSSA. If you had have done this from the beginning, year one, you would have downloaded 31st of March 2018 and uploaded that one. And the next year it would have been from the beginning to 2019. However, since I know large numbers of you are only going to be putting all the information in now, you just upload the same document for each year. And you do that under here where it says add CPD accreditation. Make sure you put in your GSSA membership number there so that they can correlate GSSA plus SACNAS, which year it's for, and here's where you upload your document. And you do that for each of the 5 years. And once you have added all of your years of accreditation or your years of documents, this is what you'll see on the dashboard, where it shows that it has accepted your credits from the GSSA system. And if you are a GSSA member who has decided to record your credits on the SACNAS system, all you do is you download your certificate from the SACNAS website, and as and when GSSA requests it, you can send it to us. But at the moment, it's not applicable. So to summarize then, if you are a GSSA member who is also registered with SACNAS, you can choose where to do your CPD. You can do it on the GSSA or you can do it on the SACNAS system, and it's mutually recognized. The choice to log your CPD credits is yours. Compliance with one system is deemed compliance with the other. They're two very different systems, particularly in points allocation. The GSSA system is more geoscience specific, whereas SACNAS has to cater for the entire membership. And because of this, it's not possible to simply transpose information from one side to the other. If you register in one system, it's not automatically going to reflect in the other. You have to download the CPD document and upload it to SACNAS. Each system is a standalone method. You must either do everything through SACNAS or everything through the GSSA. Again, it is your decision as to what you do and where you do it. Your company, GSSA, SACNAS, no one else is responsible for providing activities for you. It's your responsibility. It's also your responsibility to log it and to submit your CPD credits timeously. Yes, employers do have a role to play, but note that this role is not necessarily financial. There was a time when companies were able to provide all sorts of activities and to pay for all sorts of activities. That time has come and gone. Many companies can only provide support to allow you time to do these things. Now, the mining charter also obliges companies to invest in human resource development. So chat to your HR department about your personal career progression plan. But again, the responsibility is yours. If the company doesn't provide it, that's no excuse. I couldn't do it because. Now, although it is in the company's best interest to have employees that continue with their CPD, we at the GSSA or even SACNAS cannot force your employer to do anything. But here is a letter that SACNAS has written to all employers explaining the benefits and requesting their cooperation where possible. And this letter, again, is in your pack that you will be getting. So you may find it useful to take this with you when you go to HR. But again, in the end, it is your responsibility to do the CPD, to record the CPD. CPD is an effort. It takes time, it takes dedication. It's like running up an escalator that's going down. But just as running up an escalator gets you to the top, CPD will also keep you at the top of your geoscience game. Right, do we have any questions?
Hi, Tania. Just a quick question. So I'm a candidate at the moment and I registered in 2017. So since then, I've been collecting CPD points and uploading them on the system for courses attended and everything that forms part of professional development. But last year, I think I found out that as a candidate, you don't actually need to be collecting the points for assessment. But so I was wondering if that is the case and you only really need it once you're a professional, what happens at the end of my cycle or when I update to a professional? Can I still use those points in a new cycle, or is it just sort of started again when I am a professional?
If you are doing it through SACNAS, correct?
Yes, through SACNAS.
Okay. You don't have to, it's not required of you to do CPD while you're a candidate. But if you have continued to log it, you can keep it when you upgrade to PR SINAT. And it's also taken into consideration when you do your upgrading to PR SINAT, whether you have done CPD in the past or not. So it's not a waste of time. And you will still be able to claim them as long as it's within the 5 years.
Okay, that's wonderful to know that it hasn't been, that it actually does count for something. So just another question on that. So I have an honors degree in addition to my BSc, and I've been working for almost 3 years. So I would assume now would be a time to upgrade to professional. But when I do that upgrade to professional, will my 5-year cycle that I'm currently in as a candidate stop and a new 5-year start? Or would I be a professional and still part of my 5 years that I'm still in my 3rd year off? If you follow what I'm saying.
Yes, I follow what you mean. The short answer is I'm not 100% of it. My guess is that it starts again from zero as a professional. But I will query that with Sarah and come back to you on that.
Thanks, Tanya. Appreciate it.
Just bear with me while I write that down. Okay, Diana, I've seen your question here. Now, actually, your name does show on the participants list as Diana Ketsi, so you are registered and have attended. Any other questions, folks?
Hi, just a quick one, Tanya.
You go.
I presented at 2 conferences. Well, one was a symposium in 2017, and one was an SAIMM conference, and the other was a GSSA MINSA symposium. And I don't see either of those listed on the SACNASP or the GSSA portals. And you mentioned in the presentation that if you attend like a GSSA conference or GSSA event, you automatically get your points put in.
No, you don't automatically get your points put in. The course is automatically accredited.
Sure.
You still have to put your points in. Now, the list on SACNASP, I've only been doing this for the last 18 months or so.
Yeah.
So anything before then wouldn't have gone in on a regular basis.
Okay.
So what I'd like you to do, Guy, is send me a mail with the course details and a course flyer or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I will make work of putting it on SACNASP for you. If it's not on the GSSA system, you can simply add it yourself.
I'm doing that now.
Okay. You're doing that now, right?
Yeah. All right, thanks.
Anybody else? Come guys, this is where you get to ask anything you ever wanted to know about CPD, but were afraid to ask. Ben, have we answered all of your questions from SACNASP? Duduzile?
I have a question. During your presentation, you mentioned that the whole point of having us to record our points is not punitive, if I can put it like that, and it takes a while for a person to be registered. So what happens then if it happens that your cycle it's finished and you haven't uploaded anything? So will you be given an opportunity to do like that, like to put everything at once so that you still retain your you still retain your registration?
Yes, it is. My discussions with SACNASP is that they're going to give you a bit of a time period. They'll say, well, guys, you haven't logged your CPD. It's the end of the cycle now. Please, you've got 6 months in order to log everything and become compliant again.
Okay.
Anybody else? Going once? Going twice? Sold. Okay, folks, thank you all very much for your attendance. And if you have any questions going forward, please send a mail to the GSSA or to me directly, and we'll try our best to help you with it. In the meantime, keep learning, keep doing, and keep recording. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.